starts on the exits, seats flipping up, people are heading for the concourse before the final whistle. You can feel it through the screen. 4 league games played, 3 lost, 11 conceded, only 4 scored, and 2 matches where the net never moved. The latest punch landed at home against Spurs. A simple corner, nobody guarding the back post. Paquetá nods it in, then the red card.
That was a nasty challenge. Yep.
Then the slow tide towards Stratford. It's the kind of attention that follows you all week. This is for everyone who lives their weekend around West Ham, for the away dayer who swears by Jarrod Bowen because he chases lost causes like they owe him money, for the kid with a Paquetá poster who watched a super club move look nailed on, then get cancelled, then saw him cleared and still ours. That whole story hums under every touch he takes. Here is the reality check. West Ham have started with back-to-back home league defeats again. That makes it 3 times in 4 seasons and 8 times overall, 3 more than any other club. Under Graham Potter, the Premier League win rate sits at 27.3%, second worst among Hammers managers in that era. Those are not vibes, those are numbers that need explaining. So that is what we will do. We will strip away the buzzwords and show you why. The set-piece detail that keeps biting, the press that never quite presses, the build-up that stalls, then the fixes, with Bowen's runs and Paquetá's brain right at the centre. Roll the clips, let's get to work. Here is what is wrong at West Ham right now. No sugarcoating and no echo of the scoreboard. The mood is brittle. For a second straight home game, the London Stadium thinned long before the whistle. The 3-0 to Spurs ended with boos. Then Graham Potter told Sky Sports this is a new team that must stick together and focus on what is working. That message only lands if the performances start to match it. Step back from the noise and map the pattern. By match week 4, they had already suffered 3 losses by 3 goals or more, a threshold only Bournemouth reached as quickly in 2022 to 2023. They have dropped both opening home league games for the 3rd time in 4 seasons, and it is the 8th time they have done so, 3 more than any other side. Since Potter took over on the 9th of January, their record is the worst among the 17 ever-present Premier League clubs in that span. Across 22 league matches, the return is 6 wins and 11 defeats. His league win rate sits at 27.3%, second worst among West Ham managers. The why is layered. Recruitment has left obvious gaps. 5 summer arrivals came in, including El Hadji Malik Diouf, Mads Hermansen and Callum Wilson, yet there was no direct replacement for Mohamed Kudus, who moved to Spurs for $55 million, and no injection of legs in central midfield. Nigel Rio-Coker called the engine room weak and short on ball winners. Without a target presence, clearances come straight back quicker than a half-time pie can cool. On the grass, the issues repeat. No team has conceded more headed goals, and 6 goals have arrived from corners. That is not bad luck, it is the organisation and body shape. They have faced the most shots on target in league play with 12. They've also dropped 15 points from winning positions under Potter, so control once earned does not last. The season tally sits at 11 conceded, second most at this stage after 2010 to 2011. The human layer matters. Jarrod Bowen still makes brave runs that deserve to be found early. Lucas Paquetá, after a transfer that looked close then collapsed, remains the one who can connect midfield to attack, but too often receives with no runners close. Until recruitment and roles sharpen, the atmosphere will keep reflecting the same unease. Potter has stepped into a maelstrom. The story starts after that night in Prague when the trophy glow faded and Declan Rice was sold. Tim Steidten arrived to reshape the squad with the $105 million, but alignment never came. He and David Moyes pulled apart and the club banned him from the training ground. The Rice money went on Adson Alvarez, James Ward-Prowse, Konstantinos Mavropanos and Mohamed Kudus. They started brightly, then drifted. Calvin Phillips added a little. Kudus was sold this summer and Alvarez left on loan. Moyes went in 2024. Julen Lopetegui replaced him. Another $140 million went out and he was sacked in January. Steidten left the following month. Into that churn walked Graham Potter. By nature, he builds quietly. After the Spurs, he said this is a new team that must stick together, but pressure is spiking now. Supporters left early in 2 straight home games, and boos followed the 3-0 to Tottenham. Since his appointment on the 9th of January, West Ham have the worst record among the 17 ever-present clubs. The league picture under Potter is 6 wins and 11 defeats in 22 matches, with only 2 wins at the London Stadium. His Premier League win rate at West Ham sits at 27.3%, second worst among Hammer's managers. Potter has finally pushed back at the owners, hinting that resources and timing have limited what he can build. Protests are brewing, a meeting with Karen Brady aired grievances, and banners are being planned. On the pitch, zonal marking failed on the Spurs opener, and Mads Hermansen looks a gamble. The team still leans on Jarrod Bowen, Tomáš Souček, and Lucas Paquetá, whose mega move looked on then got cancelled. Without Rice knitted together, the spine is thin and the clock is loud. Here's the truth with a hug ending. Recovery is not a fantasy, but it needs clarity, calm, and a few brave choices. The ownership does not do knee-jerk. David Sullivan often gives a manager a game or 2 more if there is a chance of a turn. That buys Potter a small runway. Lopetegui took 5 points from 6 before he left in January, and in 2022 to 2023, West Ham had 5 from 7 under Moyes and survived. 4 late signings landed between the 29th of August and deadline day 2 days later. Then the international break hit, so this new group has barely trained together. Heavy home defeats and a place in the bottom 3 still sting, and the lift has not arrived, but the window for a reset is not closed. Here's the bigger catch. West Ham needs to step away from being a club that spends each season fighting just to stay in the Premier League. The owners have lived this cycle before at Birmingham City. Down, then back up, then down again. So the lesson is in the room. The habit of buying 2 or 3 headline stars and asking the rest to serve them needs to stop. That method is old because the whole team must do its job if it wants to reach bigger and better things. Change the method or the same outcome repeats. So how do they climb out? Start with controllables. On set pieces, switch to a hybrid, guard the back post, match their best header with yours, and post a blocker in front of their keeper. Choose a goalkeeper and a centre-back pair, then live with the teething for 3 matches to build trust. In midfield, add legs next to Souček, even if that means a kid or a loanee, and drill a 5-pass exit that gets Bowen running before the block sets. Up front, use Wilson as a reference when the game is chaotic. Then flip to a Paquetá-led possession chain when control returns. Most of all, set a non-negotiable, no cheap restarts. Every throw, foul and corner becomes a reset. The calendar both helps and threatens. Unbeaten Palace are next at home and protests are planned, so own the first 15 minutes and any early corners. Then Everton away for a stern test before Arsenal away, where West Ham have won in the last 2 visits, including under Potter in February. That run to the break finishes with Brentford and Leeds, both swing games in the fight. Bowen, the captain, has asked the club to ride the storm. That only lands if details tighten and the team shows bite. Ownership patience is real, but the mood can curdle. 3 league games feel like a fair checkpoint. Take 5 or more points, fix set pieces, reconnect Bowen with Paquetá, and there is a platform to breathe, and stay there comfortably again soon. Miss those marks and the argument shifts upstairs. Patience needed or time for change.